Hello everyone, how is it going? My name is For Extraordinaire, and I wanted to bring you guys a current update on the status of Humankind, how it's doing, and as well for those of you interested, where I think the game will go in the future, and why its player base is not as active, as well as give you some estimates on perhaps what the devs will do in the future, and a few of my recommendations to the dev team if they mean anything. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, and the reason as to why most of you are here in the thumbnail, is because Humankind's player retention rate and just its player numbers in general have dropped a massive, and I mean just a massive amount. You can just tell by looking over at the current numbers from when Humankind first launched in August 16th of 2021 this year, all the way to the current date of October 11th, 2021. So roughly 2 months or so, almost 2 months, so about a month and like 25 days or something. Anyhow, regardless of the specifics, there's been a massive drop, and I actually calculated the specific percentage itself, and about 96, I think somewhere around 96 or 94% of players left, meaning about 55,000 to 3,565. That is just a massive drop, probably one of the biggest drops I've seen for a 4X strategy game, and there are actually a few reasons as to why I think the drop has been so massive, and I have a few suggestions as to why I think devs really need to focus on getting some of these player numbers back. So one of the big things that Humankind fell short with, and one of the big things that a lot of people noticed in the open devs, and one of the reasons why we actually did the open devs in the first place, is to kind of root out the bugs and fix a lot of them. Despite that, Humankind released on August 16th as one of the buggiest 4X games I've ever played, and that's saying having played Civ 6's launch at the very start, and going through the New Frontier Pass 2, as well as some other 4X strategy games, particularly Anno 1800, which I don't have too much experience with, but it has a fair share of bugs. This Humankind's launch just blew everything out of the water in terms of bugs. I'm not even talking about just simple bugs in terms of not having correct pathing or anything like that. I'm talking about like invisible units, game-breaking bugs where you can't even click through to the next turn, just basic processing errors. All of this should have been worked out very early on, and it's very concerning that it's just taken so long for the devs to put out balance patches, and overall, it's no reason, it's no wonder that this is a reason as to why so many players have dropped out of the game. Another big issue I think a lot of players have with the game is the balance. There are a lot of cultures, but particularly in the ancient era, there are some cultures like the Egyptians which just have massive bonuses to industry, and some cultures like the Harappans, which have huge bonuses to food, two of the most important resources in the game. And when you have cultures like the agrarian and builder affinities, and you have the Egyptians and the Harappans and other cultures like the Nubians that really focus on these two key attributes, being production and food, it is very hard to kind of balance the ancient cultures around them, or at least it takes a lot of balancing. And even after something like 3 open devs, I'm very disappointed that the Nubians, the Mycenaeans, the Egyptians, and the Harappans, just to name a few, just tower over their competitors like the Olmecs, and the Hittites, and even like the Assyrians. It's just so sad to see that the balancing still hasn't been addressed after something like 2 months, and that it's just been solely, the dev team has just been solely kind of relying on bug fixes to bring players back. So with that said, I really have to say that it's really just been sad to kind of watch, and just to play with these cultures and just to really notice how they pale in comparison. And even if you play one of these cultures or pick quote unquote the wrong culture, you can really suffer. I'm trying not to be too biased when I say this, but I really want to emphasize that as someone who constantly plays Humankind is always excited to try combining new cultures, the devs have been very slow on the balance changes. And while it is very important to kind of think about how you balance different cultures, after how rough the launch was, I'm kind of surprised that the devs didn't act sooner. And hopefully with the October balance patch, which the devs have hinted to, we get some kind of change. But like, just as to my recommendations, please go ahead and be careful with the balance patch. I hope the devs have made some good decisions in terms of polishing the game, and I also really hope that just kind of in the long run, the devs are able to deliver on DLC, which hopefully can bring some players back as a strategy. And I think Civ 6 also had a very good and consistent way of using DLC to revitalize the game. Civ 6, that said, and I hope Humankind kind of follows their promotional strategy in terms of doing that. So just as a quick aside to compare the two games, you can see that even though Civ 6 did drop off in the weeks following October 2016, which is actually the current month we are in, so it's kind of interesting to compare the two releases as they are fairly close together. But 5 years ago when Civ 6 launched, that feels like forever, but 5 years ago when Civ 6 launched, it had 84,000 players, and then that was quartered to about something like 25,000 players, and then that gradually rose with the premiere of the trailer for Rise and Fall, and then the final release date for Rise and Fall, and then you can see a similar pattern with Gathering Storm, and then it kind of ebbed and flowed with the New Frontier Pass as Civ 6's later life kind of carried on. That's going to be the end of the video, but I hope you guys enjoyed some of my suggestions for Humankind. I wanted to keep it simple and straightforward, but if you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed my suggestions. If you have any suggestions for Humankind and how they can improve the game, please let me know, as well as leaving a like and subscribing to show your support. Alright guys, this has been 4 Extraordinaire, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Peace.